use string type blades, or string trimmers, string mowers versus blades for that exact reason. We're talking about evacuations, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would love to talk about, you said a plan, a to-go bag, that kind of stuff. Okay.
So essentials. So, you know, a little bit of clothing, money, even better than money, cards.
Okay.
You know, a little bit of food, enough to get you through 2 or 3 days before resources can be set up. Generally in our area, that's not going to be a big deal until you start getting beyond outside of the region. So more in the foothills where you might actually be evacuated for a few days. In the Sacramento Basin, you're probably only going to be looking at max 1 daytime, or maybe an overnight period, but probably no more than 24 hours. We have grasses, those usually, like I said earlier, we handle them pretty quick. Yeah. 2 ways out. You know, the fire's coming from one direction, and you go the other way. Or it might be blocked, like you saw up in Paradise, where the roads out of town were all blocked. Yeah. Go the other way, although they're all blocked. Right. Generally, that's not going to be as big of a deal. So you just want to know your access and egress into and out of every neighborhood. Okay. You know, you can talk to people here about when they go on vacation out of town. You know, from Tahoe, or you know, people that have second homes. That's a big deal there too. Gotcha. So of course they watch us on the news here. They don't necessarily watch it up there. Yeah. So and even up there, you get Reno news, which, again, it's flat land, much like we are here.
That is okay.
So, what else?
I think that's pretty much it. Okay. I mean, I'm not trying to turn it into too much, just a few questions.
Not 30 minutes.
Right. We do want to address what happened yesterday. Essentially, there was fires that we know of that seemed to spread very fast in Tracy and Modesto, and then there was a fire near the airport, apparently.
Well, last night.
Last night, yeah.
Yep.
So
I don't think that one got too close to homes.
I don't think it did either.
Okay. But it did grow fast, from what I hear.
But it just seemed like a busy fire night, and maybe one that people wouldn't have expected.
Right. So the thing you had yesterday was higher temp. Well, yesterday was kind of cool, but you had the high drying over the warmer days in the weekend. Okay. So that blows through, dries stuff out. Winds equal drying as well. Okay. Especially the north winds, obviously. Not to say that south winds don't. Okay. If a south wind's coming more from like the Arizona side, more of the southeast, those are pretty dry. Yeah. The Santa Anas. If they're from offshore, from the ocean, then they're wet. That's why the north winds are so dry. They come over the Great Plains, through Montana, down, super dry. They've already gone over land. Okay. So.
Well, they're ready for us. Cool. So let's just launch right into it. Yeah, no, I don't think it should be too complicated. I think we just want to educate people as much as possible about what they need to be aware of, and to always have their guard up, essentially. So we'll just launch into it. Yay?
Yep.
Good? Okay, cool. All right, 3, 2, 1. So joining us in studio here today is Chris Vestal. He's the Public Information Officer with Sacramento Metro Fire District. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about what people need to be aware of, especially as the summer continues on. We saw a bunch of fires yesterday. There was one in Tracy, Modesto, and then one closer to the airport. I think a lot of people didn't expect fires yesterday.
Well, no, and I think they thought that the cooler temperatures would mean that there's a lower fire danger. But what we really have is 1 hour fuels here. So that's your light, flashy, grassy type of fuels. Those will burn really easily, and they're ready for ignition. What that means is after only 1 hour of sunlight, and once they become dead for the season, that's it. They're not going to regain moisture overnight. They're not going to remain cool throughout the day. So as soon as any kind of spark, whether that's from a mower that hits a rock, perhaps exhaust out of a vehicle, or even a cigarette, or as we saw over the 4th of July, fireworks. Very easy, very ready for those things to cause fire in our grasses.
Okay, and some of the people in Tracy in the neighborhood said that it was like living hell. That's kind of how they described it. What do people not know, especially living in our neighborhoods? We get kind of complacent. What do we not know about how fast fires can spread?
So what we have in the Sacramento region, and that extends all the way down through Tracy and all the way up through Grass Valley, the regional foothills, that we have a lot of grasses. And grass fires spread very quickly, rapid rates of spread, especially when they get on any kind of a slope, and especially if they're fed by wind. That wind just pushes fire right through grass. And then if you have any kind of upward slope, really that's a combination for a very, very fast moving wildfire.
All right, and we did have those winds yesterday. Hopefully that doesn't stick around too much longer, but definitely something for people to be aware of. Now, if people do find themselves in the middle of something like this, what do they need to know?
The first thing is you should have already planned 2 ways out. have one way to get out of your neighborhood that you know is going to be clear and another alternate route. That way we can get in to fight the fire, but also if that roadway becomes clogged with other traffic, other people trying to escape, you can use that alternate route. Also have a go bag, a bag with 2 to 3 days of clothing and some money. We actually recommend credit cards or even Visa prepaid gift cards to put in your bag. That way you can actually buy stuff when you leave. And then also a few days worth of supplies, food, toiletries, other basic essentials, things like medications for you as well as your pets.
All right, and anything people should keep in mind as the summer kind of continues to go on, maybe more fire risk as we move forward?
So like I said, our fuels are already dry. They're only going to become drier and more ready for combustion and ignition in this area. When we have strong winds, regardless whether they're from the south or the north, pay attention to that. Know that your actions could cause a fire. If you're going to use a mower or an edger, make sure you use a string mower or an edger that has a string rather than a metal blade.
Yeah, that's something I don't think most people would have thought of. All right, Chris Vestal with the Public Information Officer with Sacramento Metro Fire. Thanks so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.